She never told me she had once dreamed of writing. In the 15 years we had been married, I had known Emma to be practical, exact, and responsible to a fault. She kept the receipts, booked the appointments, remembered everyone's birthday. She worked at the hospital, a job she was good at, but never passionate about. When people asked what she loved to do, she'd shrug and say, "Well, I keep busy," but she never said writing. Never said anything about a prize, or a scholarship, or the letter. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, when it surfaced, out of nowhere, like a memory. Trying to breathe. We were at her mother's apartment, helping reorganize things that hadn't been touched in years. The place smelled like dust, laundry softener, and tea left too long in the pot. Her mother had become slower lately, mentally and physically. She still moved with purpose, but her mind skipped like an old vinyl, with one deep scratch. Emma had suggested we help sort her old files and books before anything went missing or got thrown away, without thinking. I had no idea this small favor would reveal something so heavy. I was going through a stack of boxes in the corner, while Emma crouched near the old wall shelf. There were books with sun-faded spines, glass jars of paperclips, and boxes of yellowed receipts. It was the kind of corner people stopped noticing. After a while, she was quiet for a long time. Then I heard her say my name, softly. When I turned, she was not holding a photo or a memory book. She held an envelope. A thin, weathered envelope. Like it had been hiding in the dark for a long time. Her name was printed on it in capital letters. The postmark was from 30 years ago. The return address said, National Youth Essay Competition Board. She did not open it right away, she just stared at it. Like it had teeth, I walked over, and knelt beside her. She turned it over and over, in her hand. Then slipped her finger under the flap, and tore it open. She read the letter in silence. Her mouth did not move. But I saw something in her eyes I had never seen before. Something like heat behind glass, then. She passed the letter to me. The paper crackled from age. The ink was slightly faded, but the message was clear. Congratulations. You have won first prize in the National Youth Essay Competition. Your essay, Carrying My Brother, moved our judges deeply. You have earned a full scholarship to any school of your choice. Your essay will be published nationally. You are invited to speak at our annual summit in Washington, D.C. I looked up at her. She was not crying. But something in her had gone still. Completely still. She stood up, took the envelope back, and walked slowly to the window. Outside, a bus was pulling away, and 2 kids were racing on scooters. The ordinary day went on. Inside, my wife had just discovered a version of her life that never happened. I didn't ask her anything. Not yet. I just waited. She did not speak. She did not move for a long time. And then, quietly, she said she needed some air. She walked out the door without saying another word. I stayed behind with her mother, who had not seen the letter, or maybe had seen it long ago, and chosen not to react. She was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of something. I watched her from the doorway. Her movements were slow, but there was no sign of shock. or confusion on her face. She was humming an old song. I didn't know what to feel yet. But I knew enough to feel the weight of the moment. Later that evening, Emma did not want dinner. She said she was tired and went to bed early. I stayed up. I read the letter again. I read it twice. I thought about what it meant. When she was 17, she had written something powerful enough to win a national contest. The judges said her words moved them deeply. They wanted to publish her. They offered a scholarship, a trip, a future. And she never knew. I thought back to the Emma I had met 20 years ago. A young woman working at the diner near the college, where I taught evening classes. She was sharp, funny, observant. I remember how she noticed everything, how she would refill a glass before you asked, or point out a missing glove someone had dropped. I asked her once if she had ever wanted to study. And she said she had thought about it once. But life had taken other turns. I didn't press. Now I knew. That wasn't just a turn. That was a cliff. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, watching the rise and fall of her breath. I thought about all the things she could have been. A writer. A speaker. A teacher. Someone with her own story in print, but instead, she had stayed home. She had helped raise her brother. She had taken jobs that paid the bills. And she had never, ever mentioned that. She once dreamed of something else. It broke something in me. Not because I pitied her, but because I saw, for the first time, how quietly people can lose entire futures, just because a single letter never arrived. Or maybe because it arrived, and someone made sure it was never seen. The next morning, she was quiet. She made tea like she always did. She asked if I wanted toast. She did not mention the letter. I did not push her. Later, she sat by the window and went through an old folder from her teenage years. Inside, she found a copy of the essay, Carrying My Brother. It was handwritten in blue ink on lined paper. I sat beside her while she read it again. Then she handed it to me. I read the first few lines and had to stop. The writing was simple, but it was filled with raw feeling. She wrote about holding her baby brother on her hip while cooking, about walking him to daycare in the snow because there was no bus fare, about watching her mother cry silently in the kitchen and pretending not to see, about wanting more. It was not polished, but it was alive. And it hit me. I had never known this girl. I had only ever known the woman who came after. The one who carried all that weight without complaint. I folded the paper and gave it back to her. She placed it gently back in the folder and closed it. That night, she spoke to her mother. I didn't hear all of it. I sat in the kitchen, pretending to read. Their voices were low, careful. There was no shouting. Just long pauses. And a few broken words that traveled through the hallway. Later, when Emma returned, her eyes were red, but her face was calm. She did not say much. Just sat beside me and asked if I could help her scan the essay. She said she wanted to share it. Not to ask for sympathy. Not to get anything back. Just to be heard. There are silences that feel peaceful, and others that feel like something's cracking underneath. For the first 2 days after Emma found the letter, the silence in our home was the second kind. Not angry. Not loud. Just slow, spreading quiet. That made everything else feel distant and hollow. She moved through the rooms like she was wearing someone else's skin. Still made coffee. Still folded laundry. Still asked about my meetings. But I could tell her mind wasn't here anymore. I wanted to ask her what her mother had said. I wanted to ask if she had yelled, if she had cried, if there had been any kind of apology. But I didn't ask. She didn't offer. And something in her eyes told me, not yet. I found her one evening sitting at the desk, staring at the scanned copy of her essay on the screen. She had not changed a word of it. She had only cleaned up the handwriting with a basic transcription app. The file on the screen was titled, "My Mother Hid My Future." I sat beside her. She did not look at me. She just kept staring. I asked her, gently, if she was going to post it. She nodded. That was all. She clicked a button and uploaded it to a public writing forum. It was not flashy, no hashtags, no summary.